Good morning. What's up, friends and family and people who like us and people that don't? We're going to have a fun day today. I got Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio. We're going to be talking about health, nutrition, getting your body healed, getting your body well without drugs, surgery, and everything else that you don't need. I'm going to kick this on the FM, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. The name of this episode today is Eat This, Not That. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy. It's 9:08 on a Tuesday morning. I have Dr. Aaron Chapa here in studio. Good morning, Dr. Chapa. What's up?
What's up? How's everybody going today? This is Dr. Aaron Chapa, Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, and man, it is a good morning. I tell you what, what weird, heat wave we just slipped into the last couple days.
What's up with that?
I'm thankful, I guess, if you have a swimming pool.
Yeah.
It's been hot, but
Yeah.
I tell you what, nothing better than to start, looking for the sunshine, looking for fresh, vibrant foods to become fresh and vibrant. We're looking at, ways to just eat better, live better, be better, stay better, one bite at a time. And, all life starts and stops at the cellular level, and nutrition is the fundamental backbone that helps you revitalize your cells and move your body health-wise forward, as opposed to slipping down the slippery tracks of non-health, disease, dis-ease, and any symptom patterns that you might not be genetically born with. So if you're never tuned in before, we're so glad that you are. If you have, and we want to just remind all those guys out and gals out there that follow us, support us, and comment that we are a live show, so you're welcome to make comments, ask questions. We invite those in. You can also follow us on the iTunes and Spotify and our YouTube channel, and be a part of the movement that we're pushing forward to help give people insights on how to live better, be better, and stay better one bite at a time. And so at justlivewell.com, that's our website. We're just excited to share information each and every week, and it really is a blessing that God has given me this platform to just share how to live better and be vital, because as much as I look around and I see people promoting health, I see people acting in fads of the health movements, people really don't teach about vitality. They don't teach about how you really live long and vibrantly all the days of your life, like all the little nuances that have to go into making it to 125 fully functional in spirit, mind, and body, to make it to the end of your days. Because so many times we just kind of cop out, well, I could die tomorrow on the street, so I'm going to live however I want to today. Okay, I get it, but I'm not, I just kind of help people realize, but you can't predict the future, so you might as well plan out what you want your life to look like at the end, after you've built it, after you've lived it, so that when you look back, you say, man, I had no regrets. Yeah, you might have walked past a few donuts and a few cheesecakes or a few pastries or a few, junk food, junky moments, but in general, you felt good, you lived well, you served well, you friended well, and you were productive in the hours and the days and the months that you had on the planet. And so I just pray that people know that, it's your life, your health, your choice, and wherever you're at on the journey, you can get healthy, stay healthy, and be healthy if you just start learning some of these practices and principles that we're teaching. And this month we're focusing on Eat This, Not That. And so I just found it interesting, a couple things interesting to kind of look at. Sugar intake, the last 300 years is in the 1700s, the average sugar intake was 4 pounds per year for the average person. In the 1800s, it increased to 18 pounds per year. In the 1900s, it increased to 90 pounds per year. And in 2010, 50% of Americans consume a half a pound of sugar per day. And this, about 150 to 80 pounds of sugar per year. And so 4 pounds a year up to 150 to 180 pounds per year is a massive jump in 310 years. And so I looked into this a little bit further and found that it's that 150 to 180 pounds per person per year only accounts for the carbohydrates, the bread, rices, cereal, pasta, potatoes, corn type starches. It doesn't include the cookies, candies, cakes, ice cream, and soda waters that we get, caught up in and everybody reaches for.
The good stuff.
Yeah, of course. I mean, who doesn't love tickling those taste buds, right? I mean, so that number really is closer to 250 to 300 pounds per person per year. And we wonder why we have such a health crisis when we're fueling the body inefficiently. If you put the wrong fuel in your car, it will not run, and you know it. So why will you treat your animals better than you treat yourself via food? And why will you treat your car better than you treat yourself when that's just a material, inanimate object that doesn't really provide anything other than a means of transportation at a higher, at a fast rate of speed, depending on what you're driving. And so I think that when we put sugar into our body or artificial rocket fuels into our body or constant needing stimulants to get through our day are all check engine lights that are you ought to be paying attention to see that your body is not where it is optimally running well. It's like we need to do a little fine tuning on your engine so that things run better. You sleep deeper, that your body seems to never get sick, not because you're never ill, but because it's never catching cold. It's always processing things and keeping them managed in a way that allows you to keep moving forward with your life. And I think that we don't realize it, but a cookie and a soda can downgrade your immune system, paralyze your immune system for up to 8 hours. Well, I mean, come on now. I mean, a cookie and a soda, everybody does that probably every day. I mean, that's real common. I mean, with the amount of marketing that goes on, which takes me kind of like to this next thing. This was back in the day, Pure Pleasure is what it was. And I don't even know, I think 7-Up is still around, but this says 7-Up is so pure, so wholesome. Nothing does it like 7-Up. And there's this fine print stuff about how good it is. But nobody reads the fine print. What they read is the picture of a mom or dad pouring a bottle of 7-Up into a little sippy cup and a little infant chugging it down.
Does that happen?
This is old school stuff, but yet
that's an advertisement.
This is an advertisement. and so we are a product of the advertisements that come to us, and we are being sold a bill of goods that the stuff like this is okay for your infant and your child that is neurologically developing at rapid rates and pushing their body early with high fructose corn syrup and pushing their body early with artificial sugars and pushing their body early with these fake additives in our food supply and our drinks cause our body to malfunction early in life. Here's another good one. Sugar can be the willpower you need to undereat. So, man, you feel like you got to avoid calories, right? So they feel like your desire for food needs to be curbed. So they're gonna, change it with sugar. Sugar can be the willpower you need to undereat. Wow, again, this is the world we live in, and how to change out, what we're being marketed. Our food dollars are being diverted to buy what I call the carbs, the refined sugars, the additives, the alcohol, and the processed food, and all those things demineralize our bodies. And that jumps me over to one of my friends, Dr. John A. Meyer, says that metabolic disease and health loss have happened most abundantly from our loss of mineral elements. He states depletion of our soils have yielded plants with almost no trace minerals. He further states that washing, soaking, boiling vegetables further reduces the mineral elements. We then discard our cooking water, which further depletes our availability. And the spring waters we used to get deep in the wells is now no longer how we acquire our water. The foods that we eat, we used to get our vitamins and minerals from have also been cooked, microwaved, prepackaged, and devitalized even further. So we are setting ourselves up for a recipe of disaster. If you eat make-believe food, guys, the best you'll ever get is what, Gardy?
Make-believe health.
That's right.
And I'm laughing at one of the comments because I had this camera shot and they said, "Hey, what's in this bottle? What's in this bottle?" I'm gonna put the studio camera back on, and and it's hand sanitizer. Let me show you guys. It's hand sanitizer, alcohol, antiseptic, 80%, topical solution, non-sterile solution, refill pack. It's right there. So, yeah, there's a lot of places that started bottling hand sanitizer, and for whatever reason, this is the one they chose, and this is a hurricane preparedness kit that is chilling
that you got
right
from
here.
the Galveston County,
Emergency prepared of that.
but it looks like an alcohol bottle. Yeah, Gardy and I are in here sipping on some scissor, you know. I mean, we're rocking it.
That is not. No, that is. Yeah, it's hand sanitizer. This is another one they gave me, and so I figure it's just good to keep it around here. So.
Oh man, that's
sorry
funny.
about that, Dr. Chapa.
It's all right.
Okay.
So anyway, the game is this: like, we have to recognize that we are eating fake food, and I think that that's still a revelation to people. That with the food sources that we're consuming on the majority is fake food, and people go, "Well, what about I eat bread every day? Is that a problem?" Well, my daughter and I went into the grocery store and I told her, I said, "Hey, are you in a hurry to get back home?" She's like, "No," and she's happy to be there. I said, let's just take a moment and inventory this aisle, because who doesn't go to the grocery store and buy a bread of sort? Whether it's hot dogs, whether it's buns, slider buns, big buns, toast buns, bagel buns, whatever buns, right? I mean, we all love buns.
There's a lot of options.
Yeah, a lot of options for variety. And so I said, let's just see if we can find some that are what we would call Dr. Chapa friendly, and see, what's available. And on the aisle of bread, there was one, maybe two, that were what I would classify as Dr. Chapa friendly, and the rest of the bread options all had things like thiamine mononitrate, or enriched, bleached flour, or refined, or enriched refined flours, or all these different little buzzwords that give you indication that these are fake, make-believe foods. And these are additives that get put into the food supply. So like when you see enriched flour of any kind, whether it's white flour, wheat flour, when it says enriched, the way you need to interpret that in your mind's eye is, hey, I sneak in your wallet and I take out a $20 bill and I put in 5 pennies and call you enriched. And I am the one really getting away with the goods. And so the way enriching works is they take out what God intended to be in there, and then they put in manufactured fake, nutrients that your body can't really use well, and it just kind of binds it together, and supposedly it's got B vitamins, but they don't tell you that the B vitamins are derivatives of coal tar in the street, and they're not really things that the body can manufacture well, a physiological response from, and that's the type of flour that makes up 80% of what you're consuming. And we, again, wonder why we're not healthy. Well, again, if you eat make-believe food, the best you'll ever have is
make-believe health.
Make-believe health. I think that's going to be our saying today, is going back to this model of, hey, when you eat real food, fresh food, vibrant foods, your body will be fresh and vibrant. You will feel better. You will perform better. Your mind will work better. When you eat make-believe food and artificial foods, you're going to constantly find yourself wanting. So you're going to be thinking about your appetite all day long. Or you're going to have a headache. Or you're going to be sluggish. Or you're going to be just unproductive and uncreative. Or you're going to have writer's block. Or you're not going to perform well in the meeting. You're not going to have a contribution. You're just going to be pushing buttons, going through the motions throughout your day. And that in and of itself is a drag. That is a no fun feeling when you don't feel like you're able to contribute. So, has anybody felt like that, where they just can't, they don't feel like they're contributing to whatever their work capacity is? They just showed up and observing other people contributing, but they don't seem like they can get their thought out there because their mind is like 4 or 5 or 6 steps behind.
I've been like that at school before. I know that. Like, you show up and it's like, why am I even here? I should have just stayed home. For whatever reason, I can't make it. Yeah. I can't make it click. I can't get the understanding, and I can't contribute.
And so that's a no fun feeling.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the defeating feeling where you don't, you're not there performing at a level that you should be or think you should be of, and then you go and get checked, and they throw hormones at you. 'Cause that's a real popular thing. Oh, your testosterone's low. Oh, take this. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was female horse urine as estrogen model of rehabilitation, and all the women were getting that. And they've discovered always that these ideas are not the right plan of attack. Like if that was how we were supposed to get our hormones, they would be growing on a tree somewhere, not that we had to extrapolate it from external sources like that. Your body should manufacture those things, and if your body isn't manufacturing healthy hormones, it's because your body has deficiency. And the mineral depletion that we spoke about earlier from Dr. John is such that we have to be looking at the building blocks of life are our mineral base. And we talked about it a little bit last week, that every organ in the body is not just that doesn't play a physiologic contribution to how your body performs output-wise, but it also acts as a storage site for specific nutrition. And when the body needs specific nutrition, it goes knocking on the door of, say, your stomach, and working with your stomach to get whatever it needs from it, or your adrenal glands and getting what it needs from it, or your bones and getting what it needs from it. And so we have to be mindful that the body absolutely needs to reach deep into its mineral depths and get the nutrients that it needs in order to perform well, symptom-free. So like I was talking to a patient yesterday, she goes, every time I crawl in bed, my calves start throbbing and aching and feet hurt. But I'm fine until I get there. And I'm like, I've been in that same boat. I work on my feet all day long. And I'm thankful for that because I'd rather be moving around than sitting. But I notice I'll go home, I'll kind of kick it around a little bit, and then take a shower, put my clothes, PJs on, and then I go jump in the bed, and then all of a sudden you get the achiness in the calves. And I go, well, I said, this is what I've observed, why that happens to people. And what happens to people is they don't realize that to go to sleep, when you start crawling in bed, you already know mentally, subconsciously, that your body is getting ready for a sleep cycle. In order to go into a deep sleep state, it requires a truckload of minerals and vitamins to shut your mind down, to shut your body down into a subconscious state where it can do its work. And remember, we've talked about on previous shows in the sleep sections where the brain is 20 to 35% more active during a sleep cycle than it is during the day when you're awake consciously, which is wild still to me. But there's so much activity going on, it requires and demands a lot of nutrition to keep you in a sedated state. I remember when I was getting my wisdom teeth pulled out as a kid, I started coming out of the sedation early, and all I hear them say is, and this is what I remember of my experience, is, he's coming out, hit him again, boom, gone. I don't remember nothing else. And then they couldn't get me out of that sleep state, and so they had me in a room, and they were, talking to me, trying to wake me up, and I was just completely. I probably was telling them all those crazy stories,
Yeah.
because that's when they put you in that sleep state. There's no filter, so your mind just says whatever.
And now they have cell phones, and you'll see these viral videos.
Yeah.
It's kind of twisted.
Could you imagine if they would have caught that? Who knows what? I wish I would have seen.
You probably said a lot more than you. Well, you don't even remember what you said. Hit him again. You're probably like, "Don't hit me," or "Hit me harder." What do you hit me with?
Who knows?
Yeah.
And so, but to stay in a deep sleep state it requires a lot of nutrition. So it robs the muscles of your extremities of the minerals that it has in order to keep you in that sleep state. Because what's more important at that moment, sleep or your legs?
I'm going to say, I don't know the answer.
I'll
Sleep
say
or legs?
your sleep.
Yeah.
Your healing and rest and digest system.
I like my legs a lot, though.
Yeah, but when you're sleeping, you're not
Walking,
using them.
That's true.
I mean, so technically your body knows how to mobilize and move stuff around in order to manage its nutritional needs. Now, but what if you have a deficit of minerals? calcium, potassium, iodine, sodium, whatever, right? And then all of a sudden your brain gets, predominant, the nutritional status. Now what's left for those legs is not much, and therefore you get Charlie horses and cramps. So what you have to do is recognize that as a check engine light, that you have a nutritional deficiency. You're not getting enough of these key nutrients from your food supply. Maybe because you're eating make-believe food. Maybe because you're just not supplementing with the right, mineral base. Or you need more mineral base. I mean, you could be so depleted because you've got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of doing it your way, and you've created a mass mineral, vitamin deficit where your body, you just have to back up a tanker truck full of nutrients and just steadily start pushing it in. And it takes time. It's not always as simple as an IV bag where you can just drip it in. And I know that sounds good. It sounds easy. I like the idea too. But it doesn't really work exactly that way. Your body has to have time to mobilize all these transportation because, it's not easy to put things in storage when you're already depleted. And so we're literally dripping nutrients in continuously so systematically you can get your daily work needs done and you don't have as much of a pile up as you normally do when you have the deficit. And we're giving your body opportunities to get past that deficit so it can start doing old paperwork that it's been accumulated over our years past. And I think we just don't appreciate the body in that way. We just think, man, there is no on-off button. It just goes. And it should work always upon demand. And when it doesn't, what do we get? Frustrated. And then we start, looking for answers. How can I, channel this? Okay, I'm going to drink, stimulating caffeine drinks. I'm going to look at, power drinks and energy drinks. And I'm going to look for any way to, lift my system in that 1 to 3 o'clock hour in the afternoon where you can't get through it. And you're like, how am I going to make it to 5? You're looking for the candy, the cookies. You're looking for the sodas. You're looking for the artificial rocket fuel. Or looking for caffeine to get going in the morning. I think we could use and leverage some of these ideas, but we've got to be strategic about it and how we do it. If you're going to fill up with fake sugary foods that obviously is poor choices, are we going to reach for foods that have artificial ingredients like the enriched wheat flours or the enriched white flours? These are poisons in of themselves. And when you're looking at a label, when you see things like thiamine mononitrate, that is an indicator of synthetic B vitamins. That's an indicator that they are using garbage fillers to make that product what it is. And when it's the second, third, and fourth ingredient that your body, those synthetic ingredients aren't good for your system, and they don't really care about the product because they're willing to use it.
There's a couple of comments, and there's one I wanted to bring up. Dr. Chapa, I believe this is from your mom. She said the ride home after getting your wisdom teeth taken out was really funny. And I'm hoping
I wish she would share.
I know. I'm hoping for some more insight. Maybe some of the questions that he asked or conversations that happened. I know if there was, cell phone cameras or everybody had like an HD camera in their pocket back then, maybe we would release some of that footage. But maybe not today.
I don't know. I don't know if she's got camera footage or not. I think it should have been a requirement that all kids, especially these days, like whenever they come out of those sedative states, that they should video that because you just never know. That's like good blackmail material, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, that is thank you, Mother. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad that you're tuning in. Yes.
Share this out. If you're watching on social media, hit the share button and let everybody know what we're talking about today.
So, as we go through the continuum of life, there's stages that we go through. We're all born, we grow, we develop, and then we go through the decline phase, which we call the pauses of life. And then we go into the death stage, right? So the continuum is predictable, and some people say may be influenced. I say is influenced nutritionally. And all the systems move into a reduced, efficiency and pause from their former vigor. Well, what if we can steward that pause and help bolster our weaknesses? Because we are in a degenerating earth suit. I get it. And what are some of the pauses of life? How do you know what symptom patterns look like? So, they have this thing called menopause. Women know this very true. Hot flashes, the mood swings, at the second puberty, and then let's not be discriminatory against the females. Let's go into andropause, the loss of men's hormone, issues, and that is a very real problem. And I got more and more men coming in today that have all the presentation of a loss of men hormones. They're docile. They have man boobs. They've got the traditional pot belly, all estrogen basic modeling of the body, going the wrong direction. And so then we've got immunopause. This is the loss of ability to control infections in the body. And so, I mean, how many people are dealing with a chronic, reoccurring infectious process? I had a little boy come in yesterday. I'm so proud of him and excited because his mom's worked really hard, because every time the wind would change, the weather changed, he was calming down with, mucus and earaches and snotty throat and all this, stuff. And now it's not happening anymore. And it's because we've got his nutritional basis up high enough where he can tolerate a change in barometric pressure. He can, and we found that he was overeating fruit snacks. And that was one of the major causes of his deficiency, is the sugar was causing his body to decline, and he was chronically ill at a under 4 level. Well, you transpose that into 8 years and 12 years and 16 years, and now all of a sudden you find yourself on reoccurring doses of antibiotics 4, 5, 6 times a year, not realizing, because nobody's telling you, that that's an atomic bomb that you're dropping in the digestive tract. And there's nothing good about it. I mean, it is not it's not a stronger antibiotic. It's just a bigger bomb that they're dropping in there that is destroying your ecology. You're destroying all the good, the bad yeast, all the good and bad bacteria, all the synergistic enzymatic production sites, everything. I mean, so much damage occurs whenever we use and overuse, and especially in this country, overuse antibiotics. So then we've got osteopause, another pause of life where life is slowing down, the decline, and this is the loss of bone density and brittleness. Well, haven't we seen and heard, that people get diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, and then we hear stories, terrible stories about people, falling and breaking a hip, and we're so like, oh, like what happened to grandpa? What happened to grandma? And nobody's teaching people that osteoporosis and osteopenia, those are childhood disorders. Especially with our young girls, we need to be filling them up on these vital nutrients, magnesium, calcium, potassium, getting their sodium balance in check before they're 35. We need to make sure that when you have a child, recognize that those bones getting longer requires a truckload of nutrition to elongate and to do it well, and to do it in a way that allows them to maximize their growth curve. I mean, what if your kid could be 6 foot, but their nutritional status only allows them to be 5'8"? Nobody thinks about that. What if their brain capacity is such that it can handle exponential amount of information, but they only, make it to the ADD stage where they can't quite get past that filtering of distractions in their environment, and they don't learn as effectively because they can't turn on or turn off their filters and handle their surroundings. This is all nutritionally driven, and your body will prioritize where this nutrition goes, so something is going to give, and you won't maximize the growth hormone potential. You won't maximize your immunological potential. And then you look at somatopause, the loss of muscle strength and tone, and we start seeing that tonality, that what people talk about when they have the extra underarm wave, or they see that the muscles are sagging, that the body is just not as tonified as it once was. That's an elasticity problem. That's a deep-rooted collagen matrix issue, and it requires nutrition fundamentally to get there. And when we reach to fake food to fuel those pauses of life, guess what happens? We're disappointed. And then we keep reaching for ways to get our nutritional status back up, but we don't now, because of all the matrix issue, confusing us that this food is real but really is fake, but it sure does taste good, and we believe that food, in order to be consumed, needs to taste good all the time and be pleasing to our taste buds. We don't eat it, but we forget nothing below your taste buds wants the sugary-filled lump of dough. But if you want to become a sugary-filled lump of dough, eat them, because that's what's going to happen, and that's exactly what somatopause and And then we go into cardio pause. What do you think that is? That's cardio pause.
Well, it has cardio in it, so I guess not having the energy or not being able to keep up.
That's right. This is going to be an effective decline in vascularity and heart function. And so the muscle strength and tone of the heart begins to decline. Well, I'm pretty sure people would much rather have a Charlie horse in their leg than one in their heart. But they don't realize that could be easily remedied by doing an essential fatty acid profile test. I just got my second test back. Really proud. Back in September, I did a brain heart blood study and found there was some inflammation in the cells. I wasn't really proud of the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Felt like I was doing everything right, only to find out that I wasn't dosing high enough still. And so we made a switch. We changed out some of the fats that we were using in our office and going to a little bit more potent fat. And there's still fish oils, but they're just, again, more concentrated. The reesterified triglycerides is a great product called Omega Force. Very, very powerful. If there was one thing, literally one thing that I could do to influence every tissue, cell, organ, gland in the body, to improve the nutritional delivery system, to improve brain function, heart function, neurological function, would be the Omega Force. It is such a prime driver. Every tissue, cell, organ, gland in the body has a bisphosphonated layer of fat around every cell. And that fat, when it gets withered away and deteriorated, the cells don't communicate well. And therefore, now when we play the telephone game and I whisper in your ear, by the time the message gets to where it needs to go, no, it's confusing and nobody gets the message. And so this is all, built around our cardiovascular decline, vascular pause. This is where your blood vessel diameters begin to alter. You either are too lackadaisical and you can't get blood flow to your head, so you get dizzy when you go from sitting to standing, lying to standing, or you find yourself a little bit just brain fog, brain is sluggish and not performing super well. Vascular pause is something that can be managed. Doing vascular care protocols and programs are something that I'm very keen on. B vitamin replenishment helps to create nourishment. Vitamin C, and with the whole complex, not with like your high dose ascorbic acid. I only use that temporarily, but I'm talking like something that has the full complex of vitamin C, tyrosinase, the enzyme that helps break it down for usability in the human body. The vitamins P, K, and J. Many people don't know that there's a P and a J. They've heard of K recently with the whole D-K relationship, vitamin D and K delivery. They don't talk about the cofactors and bioflavonoids. We just know the vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid, typically around 25 to 5,000 milligrams, and high dose is the way people deliver it. That is not the type of C that we're talking about. We're talking about the cofactors that allow arteries to perform better. And then we've got biopause and electropause. These are loss of brain neurotransmitter production. Again, this goes back to your hormones. If your body is supposed to produce natural hormones in the system, and it's not, the same goes with the neurotransmitters in the brain. The brain won't activate and allow a crispness, a sharpness to come into the synaptic pathways in your brain to get messages from point A to point B. And again, this is all regulated by the type of food that we put in, or down-regulated by the make-believe food that we put in. And then that all is compounded by our environmental stress and toxins that we're all dealing with. And last but not least, all of the women are going to hate this one, dermapause, loss of skin, collagen, and elasticity. So this is like where you start seeing people wanting to go off and do all the treatments so that they look more youthful.
I hate that too, though. I don't want to, dermapause.
I'm not saying men don't. Men won't say it, right? But they're the guys sneak in the back door to get the treatment, right?
What does that mean about me if I say it though?
Maybe that you're just you're raw and real. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, because who wants to, age ungracefully? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who wants to fall apart before their time?
Not me.
And I think the message that I'm sharing is that all of these pauses can be altered by just stewarding the nutritional vitality that you put in and day out. One is only as young as his oldest part. So let's start evaluating our body and listening. Let's look at our urinary pH, see what your acidity level is. Let's assess, how do you feel in the morning? Are you getting headaches during the day? Can you make it to 5 o'clock without needing rocket fuel? What is it that how can we help you, see where your body's breaking down? And that's where, we really shine, as we dig in our nutritional history protocols and figure out where the big rocks are that make the biggest dent. And digestion's a huge one. Adrenal function is a huge one. Diet play is a huge one. What you fuel your body with is huge. And people just don't want to believe that food matters. And I think it's because there is a miseducation even in the medical realm, where doctors today are not educated on nutrition. They're educated on pharmacology, and they don't really preach or teach how to stay healthy. They just preach how to manage a symptom when it pops up with a drug. And again, when you treat the body that way, you miss an opportunity to give the body the foundational rudimentary building blocks for life. And if food didn't matter, then why do we eat anyway? Like, why is food such a big monster industry? Why do we care so much, about what is bought, not bought? Why? Obviously, if we have all these taste receptors in our mouth, we have a bitter taste receptor, we have a salty, a sour, a sweet, a savory taste receptors in our mouth. There's obviously a 5-fold reason that food is important. Food has been around since the day of our creation on the earth, and I think that we don't live in the Garden of Eden, so we have to start learning and appreciating that the body is needing a different type of fuel source, because the type of fuel we have access to a lot of times is devoid of nutrition, as we talked about earlier. It doesn't have that mineral status. I think right now the stat is about between 2 and 5 minerals that are in most soils that are being the building blocks for whatever you're eating, whether it's a carrot, a cucumber, a bell pepper, and there should be 60 to 65 minerals in there. Well, if we need 60 to 65 minerals and you're only getting 5, there is a deficiency. So now, if I can supplement what I would call now exotic minerals into your body, I'm giving your body abilities to detox. Chlorophyll, for example. When you look at cilantro, for example, the nutrients there help to mobilize trash out the body. If I give your body minerals in abundance and I flood you with more minerals and you think, that's a lot of minerals, why do I need all those? Because look at your arches of your feet. You have flat foot syndrome. Well, so did my dad, so did my mom. Yeah, and so you've inherited a gene discrepancy of flat-footedness, but you should have an arch foot, and you can fix that by a higher dose manganese repletion. And people don't realize that is something that can be changed in your body, and your body wants to change it, and you'll walk differently. Your gait will be differently. Therefore, your knee pain or your knee aging process will be different. See, we all think that we're invincible right up until we realize we're not, right? Our joints are no different. Our joints feel like they're invincible right up until we realize, ouch, that knee hurts and I can't put weight on it. Or my ankle hurts, I can't put weight on it. Or, oh, my back, ow. I'm hunched over and I can't walk, and it doesn't make sense how this happened. I was just sitting on the toilet, or I was, doing, a repair that should have been simple and I blew my back out. I sneezed and this bad thing happened. Are you kidding me? That shouldn't do it. But that was the straw that broke the camel's back because of nutritional deficiencies. The steward process that you were participating in left you wanting whenever your body went through a small, seemingly harmless action. And so I always come back to just the continuum of life, is that we can control more than we give ourselves credit for, because nobody's educating us on how to do it. So it starts with food. So be looking at those labels. When you see enriched flours, get it out of the diet. You'll be shocked. A lot of the things that you buy have those in there. A lot of the cereal bars, a lot of the pastries, a lot of the ingredients that are being used to get you through your day are laden with these things. When it says thiamine mononitrate, pay attention. That's fake nutrients. And when they do that, they're also going to probably put in different fillers and dyes. When you see FD and C color number whatever, it doesn't matter if it's blue, orange, red, these are all indicators for your toxicity. When you see mineral oils, partially hydrogenated oils, cottonseed oils, hydrogenated oils of any type on the label, these are liver congesting foods. And the liver, as we've talked about many a time, and we'll talk about continually, is that the liver is the giver. And so we always want to come into helping people see a food label for what it really is, not for how it tastes and what it looks like on a picture. And you know, it's a bitter pill to swallow sometimes to realize the things that we've grown up with and we seemingly turned out okay is actually contributing to our high blood pressure in our 30s and 40s and 50s, or contributing to our type 2 diabetes, or contributing to our headaches and migraines, or our hormone dysfunction, or our fertility troubles. And so we've got to be constantly on alert looking for ways to eat better and live better.
So there was a comment, and this is from Steven. It was a question. He wants to know if does Dr. Chapa have any minerals or any supplements to take to help with kidney stones? And then I guess just in general, what are some good ones to start with?
So on the kidney stone topic, so kidney stones, bone spurs, plaquing in the valves, these are all calcium deposits, and it's just where does it show up? In this case, this is showing up in the kidneys. And so the question is she taking too much calcium, or does he have an imbalance in the calcium, magnesium, phosphorus ratios? And that's what it is. And so when you don't have enough calcium, you're immunologically challenged. You're more susceptible to bugs floating around, kids coughing on you. You're going to be more potentially sick. Whenever you have, whenever your calcium load is too high, and you don't have enough phosphorus and magnesium to balance it out, it begins to harden in certain tissues. So like you'll get tissue hardening in the joints, they'll call that a bone spur. Or if you get it in the kidneys, they call that kidney stones. So we will do things blood flow-wise. Circuplex, for example, is a really great product that's got phosphorus in it. Calsol, which is an ionic calcium. It's a calcium that's more phosphorus-driven with a little bit of calcium mixed in with it that will offset your calcium to magnesium to phosphorus ratio so that your body will start withering away the buildup of calcium. In the same way that you develop a stone in your kidneys or build up a plaque around the valves of the heart, or a bone spur in your toes or your ankles or your knees or your back or your neck or wherever, it will begin to undevelop. And so we want to come in there and we want to see how can we get your body's nutritional status back under control. And people go, well, how do you read that on a blood work? Well, we just look at those particular nutrients, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, and we can see ratios, and we look at them very, functionally as opposed to pathologically. A lot of people don't have pathological issues around these, but the ratios show us, are they more prone to the immunologically declining side, or are they more prone to bone spurs, valve plaque buildup, or kidney stones? And we start addressing it in that way. We'll have people just simply pee on pH strips and measure their first morning urine pH and see how acidic their body is. And that'll give us key indicators to see if they are moving in a direction of health or if they're in an inflammatory or worse, an infectious state. You can oftentimes just measure your body with basic fluids in order to determine output and productivity. How's it doing? And they've shown this with heart rate variability studies. There's little watches, and there's all kinds of ways to track this. You can be in bed, not move, open your eyes in the morning, check your heart rate variability, and determine if it's a good day to exercise, if you're going to have a good workout or not, or if your brain's going to be highly active or productive or not. It's fascinating to see that your body's constantly giving us clues. So when a person tells me they have kidney stones, that tells me that we've got to get in there and flush the kidneys. So we use different types of products to help mobilize that. One of my favorites is the Calsol and the Circuplex, but also flushing the kidneys using something like Arginex and coming in to mobilize trash and sediment through the kidneys, because obviously there's a couple things there. Not just are we having a buildup, we're also having a backup of trash and sediment that's having being shunted over to the kidneys because the liver isn't able to process it out. Well, that could be because the liver's congested because of all those foods we just talked about that were causing congestion. Or the bowels are backed up and the number one exit channel isn't open We have a 6-8 lane highway that's down to half capacity or a quarter capacity, a lot of road construction. So things are going really slow that way. The body's smart. It's not going to let your liver's not going to dump into an already toxic system. It's going to reroute, redirect, and remobilize this stuff. So it pushes it over to the kidneys. Well, that puts a strain and stress on the kidneys because a lot of times, a lot of those things going over there are real acidic, and the kidneys don't like acidity. And so we can measure that acidity. If your buffering mechanisms through pH is acidic, low, then we know we have to address a mineral deficit in your body. And we've got to get the mineral status better. One of my mentors says everything comes down to stimulating the glandular axis, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, your thyroid, your adrenals, your gonads, so it's your testes or ovaries, depending on gender. And so if that is, and he asked us this question in class, he says, so who else has an opinion? Like, what do you think the number one burden is? And, I wrote down on my little paper, minerals. And I don't know if I wrote it down because I just wanted to be different than his, or if I was really thinking that minerals were the answer. But interestingly enough, he walks around the room looking at people, and 98% of the population in the room, maybe even 100% at the point of him coming to my paper, was all agreeing with him. Oh, yeah, the endocrine system, because he said it. Okay, great. But mine said minerals. And, of course, he grabs mine and says, this one's different. It says minerals. And he looks at me and says, Chop, why do you say minerals are the most important? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I just put it down. And so he goes, think about it. Let's think this through, because I love your thinking. I love the fact that you put something different. Something's driving that different in thought. What is it? What is it? What is it? And it literally comes back down to something that I found later that, John A. Myers, again, talks about. And he says that we should not be focused on the glandular system to rebuild the glandular deficit from stress if we don't address the trace mineral necessity. We've got to be looking at the mineral basis to allow the body to utilize the glandular system, to revitalize the glandular system, and to maximize the glandular system. The glandular system is the key, Dr. White. You're so right. But if you don't have a mineral abundance, a reserve to fuel that system, it will not perform at its prime best. And where do we get our minerals, Gardy?
I'm going to say from supplements from your office.
Oh, of course. But where should we be getting minerals?
We should be getting them from the food that we eat.
No question. We should be getting them from the 60 to 65 mineral trace elements that are in the mineral base of the soil. See, the soil is depleted. The soil is building the crop. We're eating the crop. That's where we should be getting our nutrient density. But we're not. It's devoid. It's lacking. So then we go look at Bernard Jensen's work, and we see that Bernard Jensen starts looking at the empty harvest. We have a bounty of nutritional food sources, but they're all lacking in nutritional density at the micronutrient level. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have the vision to see if that spinach leaf has all the calcium, magnesium it needs and the iron it needs to give my body what it deserves. I'm not that good. And none of us are. We don't have those types of eyes. We have to trust the crop growers. Well, unfortunately, due to marketing dollars, subsidies, and from the government, they're more focused on growing garbage foods and paying out big dollars for that, as opposed to nutritionally dense foods that can actually help people stay healthy and be healthy and live healthy each and every day of their lives. And so, there's the old saying, you got to follow that money, and you can start seeing where the breakdown happens. We need to be paying farmers to grow healthy kale and spinach and Brussels and asparagus and broccoli and all your cruciferous vegetables, because all those cruciferous liver-giving foods will help to de-estrogenize our men and to balance our female hormone levels. And guess what happens? They're healthier, the men are healthier, and life goes on. Then we need to see them also be helping the beet crop, have all the nutrients to help bile production so that your liver performs better. Then asparagus to help make sure your kidneys are kicking tail and working like they're supposed to. And then we start realizing that, wow, our food is our medicine. And so, yeah, I have supplements. Mineral Force, amazing, amazing multi-mineral. Love it, love it. Aspartic minerals, trace minerals, organically bound minerals, manganese B12. I've got minerals coming out my ears, iodine. Whatever mineral I need, I can pull from. And I'm constantly looking for what I'm going to call exotic minerals. They're not exotic, guys. They're just minerals that you can't get access to in your food supply because, number one, you're not eating the food supply that's available. And two, if you were, the density of nutrition in those foods isn't there. Don't be discouraged. You can come to Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, and I'll give you some minerals to make sure that we can prime that pump cellularly so that your glandular system will perform well and live well and be maximized for max potential. And then you will age gracefully. Then you won't go through these pauses of life so drastically. They'll be subtle and, they'll be like a hike in the woods. It's just something you go through and you enjoy, not this debilitating night sweats, up all night, tossing and turning, beating up your pillow, hot flashes all through the day, or cranky and irritable, depressed, and constantly on an emotional roller coaster. These are signs and symptoms of deficiency. And so we always want to look at how do we get to the next stage of our development. Every 10 years, our body is changing and needing more nutrients to get through the next phase.
Dr. Chapa, here's a question. This is from Tammy, and I kind of was wondering myself. So organic produce is more nutritious, right? Because we were talking about a lot of the crops and vegetables that are grown today, they don't have the same minerals that they had 100 years ago. It's just due to the soil being depleted and treated and, everything else is sprinkled on it. So is organic still a good option?
It is a good option. But remember, organic primarily doesn't mean more nutrition. It just means that it has less pesticide. It has less chemicals, to beat it up and to ruin it, right? So I always will go to fresh organic local is really best. That's if you can find your local farmers market, find your master gardeners, and start buying from them. So we have, Irma's Nutrition, we have Natural Living in the Clear Lake, Webster area that always has farmers, market available where you can get your, these master gardener knowledge base growing produce for you, and you can reach into that vat. Then I would even say organic frozen would probably be next. And then I would go commercial fresh, and then, frozen, conventional frozen.
Where does canned go in?
Canned
veggies.
Canned is like, we're the apocalypse is happening. Like we're at a spot in life where we're in real trouble, trouble.
Yes.
And we have to reach deep into the reserves, and we know it's a famineous time. Guess what? We ain't living in that time. You know what I mean? Like if coronavirus didn't prove that to us, we're not living in the 1920s. You know what I mean? We're not living in the 1820s. I mean, we don't have the same system of culture that they had then. And so there's too much salt, and that in and of itself is a problem with the canned goods. And a lot of these cans are stored in hot warehouses. They over time do leak into the food that you're eating. And so now we're getting some metal issues and buildup. But man, if I was in a famineous time, sure, I'd eat it. You know what I mean? And the same goes with like grain products. I think that, these grains that people reach to, we should be reaching to grains during famineous times when we are needing crutches to get through life, not staples of life like we are now. We need to be reaching towards the produce of vegetables primarily, 2 to fruit 1 ratio, but most people lump those together and eat too much fruit, because there's diet companies out there that tell people that you can eat all the fruit you want because they're free. What? What do you mean it's free? That's high fructose. I mean, that's not high fructose corn syrup, but that's a high fructose food, and a high fructose food is a fruit sugar. Fructose fruit sugar is hard on your liver. It's only processed via your liver, and it will cause non-alcoholic fatty liver syndrome. A sluggish liver means you have a sluggish thyroid, which means you have a sluggish metabolism. And if you have a sluggish metabolism, how are you going to get the gains in the gym? How are you going to keep a healthy heart for longevity? How are you going to keep a healthy brain whenever you need it to function well? And your body is literally having an inability to get rid of the waste, and now it's having to store that waste because it can't get it out of your body. And now when you need to store vitamin C, sorry, vitamin C, the closet is full in your adrenal glands, and now the adrenal glands start taking a dive, and you can't manage the simplest of stresses anymore. And now you're suffering with anxiety and panic and worry and doubt and unbelief, and now you start slipping into the pit of despair, of depression and sadness and grief, and that's the slippery slope. So wherever you're at on these cycles, these are check engine lights. So people go, well, no, I'm sad because so-and-so died. No, that's grieving. That's okay. But we've got to make sure that, that spirit of grief doesn't set in upon you. It's okay to go through a season of grief. It's okay to go through a season of initial oh my gosh, I'm panicked. Emergencies happen. That's called a fight or flight response. But you shouldn't live in a fight or flight response. Does that make sense? We
Yes.
should have a response, and then our body should regulate out that response and figure out, all right, what's the next step? Where am I going to go from here? And then we start moving forward in a healthy manner. And then we shift back into a parasympathetic response, a rest and digest, which is healing and repair. And we are now keeping up with the degeneration and surpassing it with regeneration because we have a strong nutritional base, a strong essential fatty acid base, a strong mineral base, and now our glandular system, when we push it, drops it into overdrive, and we sail and off to the sunrise and sunset gracefully and age at a really wonderful, abundant level. And that's the game of Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. That's what I believe is my call, is to help you manage the seasons of life, to help you manage the trials that come in your health, that help you realize that all life starts and stops at cellular level. Nutrition is the fundamental backbone, that it starts with what you choose to put in your body day in and day out. And I just want to continually encourage people, hey, look, man, people around you need you. People around you want you present. And if you don't feel good, how are you going to perform good in their lives and be a blessing to them? How are you going to be used abundantly for the Lord if you're sick and broken all the time and you're not able to be, Christ's hands in action? How are we going to take it to the next, the next phase of life when our head hurts and we're cooped up in a cold, dark room because we got a migraine, 2 or 3 times a month? I mean, people don't realize some of these people suffer with migraines. That could be a 24-hour, a 72-hour track of time of doing nothing. Well, what better place does the devil want you? Cooped up in a cold, dark room talking and doing nothing for the Lord, or doing nothing for your business, or doing nothing for the general humanities of society. And that is one of the things I want people to grab hold of is, man, if you're not performing at the level you want to perform at, I want to challenge you to recognize that it's your life, your health, your choice. Let's start changing our plan of attack. Let's pull you out of that treacherous water that you're in and get you out of the shallows, back into the deep, so that you can start maneuvering your life in a direction and catch a different wind. Put those cells back up and go. And I think that food is medicine. I think that the mineral base is medicine. And so when I talk about these things, it's a process. It's never an easy process, but it is a simple one. And we just got to remember, man, if you've been on this planet 40, 50, 60 years and your body is falling apart and breaking down, it could be because you have stockpiled the wrong nutrient. You put metals and chemicals and debris and sediment and waste that you couldn't excrete into your storehouses, instead of putting in the vitamin C and the vitamin E and the vitamin D and the vitamin A and the vitamin P's and the J and the K. And now all of a sudden your body can't reach deep into its reservoir and pull out health and vitality for regeneration. And now it's pulling out metals, and these metals are seeping out, leaching into the tissue, poisoning your cells. And now you've got Parkinson's or dementia, or you have sleep apnea, or you have high blood pressure, or you have cholesterol problems, or you have digestive distress, or you have skin rashes, or you have mood disorders, or you have hormone challenges. I mean, the list is long, and we can just, where do you fit in the category? And what makes this journey challenging is you can have 10 diagnoses in 10 people, all caused from the same problem. It's just they manifested differently because of their genetic blueprint. And that is why you need a coach. That's why you need somebody on your team to help you move you forward in a way that is encouraging and understanding of the terrain. So I always like to joke around, I know how to get to Oz. I know how to take you to where you want to be because, one, I'm on my own road. Two, I'm following people that are on their road that have fruit on the tree, that are healthy humans that are doing life in a way that is revealing of the level of vibrancy that I want in my 60s, in my 80s. And, I don't have one yet that's 120, but I believe I'm following people that are. But what if my goal is 125 and I make it to 108? It's pretty good. With the gene code that I've been given, that would be doubling my father's lifespan. I think that'd be pretty cool. Plus, sign me up. And when I turn this earth suit in, it goes back to my favorite scripture I talked about on past sermons. Here, my sermon, Romans 12:1. I beseech thee, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. This is my reasonable service. And the call to present your bodies a living sacrifice is not an extraordinary, exuberant, over-the-top ask of the Lord. It's a reasonable one. And so how you think, how you eat, how you feel is all something that you can work with and work on and be thinking bigger than just for the now, for the immediate pleasure of sensation in our taste buds and get you to the next phase of development. So without further ado, I know we're up on time. So I want to just say, if you would, share, like, and comment on our videos and get the message out of health and wellness to your friends, family, and loved ones, because I promise you somebody can benefit from the work. Somebody can benefit from the education that we're delivering here on the show. And so follow us on our YouTube channel, follow us on Spotify, follow us on the podcast on your iTunes, and let us be a constant voice of support, encouragement, and well-being in your life. And if you have questions, comments, give us a call, 281-554-8600, or visit our website at justlivewell.com. We have a lot of cool health surveys that can help you kind of get started and pointing you in a direction to work on a system here or there. So we are here for you guys. Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is here. We're in League City. We do phone consults all over the city, all over the country, and help people live better, be better, and stay better one bite at a time.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it's 10:09. I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back